Hi, Tim Sells here. In this new series of videos, I'm going to be talking about training. And this particular video has to do with the bridge to the pipeline. All right, I'm super happy for you that we've finally arrived. If you've been following through the couple of hundred videos that I've done, everything I've talked about the pipeline quite a bit. But now I'm going to start breaking this down for you, and I'm super excited for you. So, as you've heard me say many times before, and even if you have, listen closely, because now we're actually into the pipeline itself. And so it doesn't matter if you're trying to get a spouse, it doesn't matter, excuse me, if you are trying to get votes, it doesn't matter if you're trying to sell retail items at a store. It doesn't matter if you are a doctor and you're trying to get patients. It doesn't matter what it is. Everything has to do with the pipeline. If you are trying to hire people, you're going to use the pipeline to do so. It is the universal thing that every business must do. And so anybody who says, well, I don't know about that, they're just basically saying that they are not going to do business. Okay, so even a lawn boy who's dragging a lawnmower behind him has to knock on a door and generate a lead, contact that lead, set an appointment to do a presentation about what he's going to do with the yard. He's going to mow and he's going to trim and he's going to sweep and so forth. And then he's going to follow up and he's going to get a customer, serve that customer, make money. Or the person says no, and he goes to somebody else. All right, that is just the pipeline. It's true for votes. It's true for colleges. It's true for everything. And so the better or the more affinity that you can flow to this thing, the better off you're going to be. The more that you push away and start creating things in your head that says, no, I can't. I never did that before. I don't know how. The more that you do that, the more you're rejecting the very thing that all business is surrounded by. And so it's be very, very healthy to embrace it. All right. So we could use many, many examples, but I think you get the point. Now, what I've recognized over the many, many years is that I can show this and it makes logical sense to people. And sometimes it takes me a bit of time to get them to really start giving me examples of, an In-N-Out burger. Like, how does it use the pipeline? And then as I continually cause the person to see it and see it and see it and see it, and then they see it universally. However, that doesn't mean that they're necessarily ready and willing to do the pipeline. And I had to later come along and build a bridge to the pipeline, because I could see that people, even though that they could give examples of it, it didn't mean that they could walk themselves into this and do it. Okay. Now, there's no reason that they couldn't, and I'm not trying to tell you that you need to do a bridge to it. But at some point in your training career of teaching the pipeline, you're going to have to learn the bridge to it so that you can help people with it. So after you do the pipeline, you harvest the rewards. And those rewards are whatever they are for you. Some people will say, well, the harvest is the money, but for me, it's never been that. For me, freedom is the harvest. Okay, it's the freedom to live where I want to live. It's the freedom to be willing to take off 3 months, 4 months or so if I want to and do something. It's just freedom. That's always been the harvest for me. And so, but you get to choose that harvest. All right, so let me walk you through a couple of these. So the very step that I see most people not ever do is I am. And that's the fundamental of anything in the world. I am a wrestler. I am in jiu-jitsu, or I am jiu-jitsu. I am a boxer. I am a football player. I am whatever. Okay? And so sometimes a person might back into network marketing just like they kind of backed into getting married. And they say, well, yeah, that was a pretty good time, but they never stand there and say, I am. And that's going to beat them half to death their whole life if they don't do that one simple step. And that is to take it on, to be it. All right? And a lot of people, well, I'll try. No, that's not I am. That's the opposite. That is throwing out to the universal spirits or something that's going to come in and authenticate for them whether or not they are or not. No, that's not the way the world works. All right, you can hope for, it's a sign. No, it's not a sign. Either you stand there boldly and you stomp your foot down and you say, I am, or you say, I am not. There is no in between. Okay, and you can say that for I am a husband, I am a wife, I am a Christian, I am a whatever it is, and that is what you must do. Otherwise, you skip that step and you hop over the top of that, and you're still waiting on the universal spirits to authenticate that you are, and you're going to just stroll around, lost space. Okay? You got to have that one. Carve out the space in your life to do it. Okay? So probably your life is full now, right? Most everybody that I've ever met in my life, they're full. Their calendar's full. And they never take that step to say, all right, so I got to move some stuff around here, and I got to create this block of space that I'm going to put in network marketing. And if you do not move that stuff off, like, I'm done with that. I'm done with that. I'm not going to do that anymore. That TV's wasting my time. I don't need to look at all those apps all the time. Good. I carved off some space for me to do network marketing. All right. So that's what I'm talking about here is that you got to carve out the space. And a lot of people don't ever do that. They just their friend comes over and says, hey man, you want to do the business together? Well, sure. What is it? Oh, well, we're going to be selling this or whatever. Oh, okay. And they never carve off the space, right? They bought a pack, and the pack is sitting in a sack next to the door. And it's been there for 3 weeks. They say they're in network marketing. They're not in network marketing. They never carved off the space in their life in order to drop network marketing into. So that's carving off the space. Make the time. You think it's the same, but it's not quite the same, because when you say over here, I am, just like if I were to say I am a carpenter, and then I would probably go down to Home Depot and I would probably get a nail apron. I would probably buy a hammer. I'd probably buy maybe some chisels, some tools, and some various different things. I might even buy a different truck to drive. I might, now I'm going to be dressing for outdoors as opposed to indoors, and so I'm going to have to have some new clothes, right? So in other words, this is all taking on that life of a network marketer, is that you're making these decisions, and so you carve out the space and you also carve out the time. Okay? You learn the subjects. Okay, so to kind of give you an example, my son, he's 10 years old. I've also got a 5-year-old. And so we bought him some homeschool books. These are Singapore math. This is 3rd grade. This is 3rd grade B. Okay, so what are they learning in 3rd grade? Well, they're learning addition, subtraction, number bonds, various different things, right? So they already learned their numbers. Now they're learning to add numbers and subtract numbers. And so then we get to multiplication, right? So if you kind of scroll through this, can you see that this right here is a bridge? It's part of the bridge to maybe calculus, maybe figuring out and building a bridge, like a real bridge, right? If they would become an engineer or something like that. And then there's the 4th grade. I think we get into division here. Fractions, things like that. And what are these books? These are drills. Okay, so they're, just repetition over and over and over and over and over. Repeating it over and over and over and over. Building the skill set, building the confidence, building the discipline. Okay? And so then, but that's just raw numbers, right? That's just numbers. Well, what if we start breaking this down into time? Okay, so I got some training aids for them, and so that I'm able to subtract time, add time. I start playing little games with them about how long it's going to take them to get to school. I start playing games with them about miles per hour. And so it's the application of numbers now in the real world. There's fractions. Okay, so here's 1 and there's 0.5. And so humor me just for a minute, just so that I can kind of walk you through this. It's kind of hard in some people's minds to see a fraction and it also be having to do with thirds versus decimals and so forth, right? And so these are visual aids that assist my son in the bridge to becoming an engineer or whatever it is that he's going to do. Okay? These are all steps these are just teaching aids towards him having an understanding. And now if you were to ask my son Tristan, he would say, Dad, I already know how to add numbers. I say, okay, good. So get a pint and add it to a gallon. And just watch him do one of those, he can't quite comprehend. A teaspoon, things like that. See, what I want to really do here is make sure that you understand that that this is where we play the game. Some people need a bridge. And it's not a demotion. It just simply means, just like if I had to go through and go back myself and study some of these things in order to help teach my son, and I've had to do that. And it's not a demotion. It just says, I am going to be a homeschooler for my son. And I have to carve out that space in order to help my son. I have to make the time each day in order to do that. I have to learn the subjects so that I'm clear in my explanations to him. Okay, so I love network marketing simply because this is what we do and this is what we teach. It's very simple. It's a very simple concept. And if you're not up to competency at this level, take steps backwards. In fact, I think that everybody ought to just start out and just make these declarations and make sure that it's in your life. Otherwise, you skip them. And this is the one, do the reps. Did a survey recently, and without a doubt, the number one item was, I need more discipline in the pipeline. No kidding. No kidding. That's called do the reps. Okay? So you take a look and you go into the gym and you know, if you want to grow muscle, you have to go to failure. Okay? So if I go to 10 reps and I don't go to failure, then that's not really a workout yet. All 10 reps were to get me to number 11, where I failed to get it all the way pushed out or whatever, you know, overhead press or whatever. Only that one counted. The 10 didn't count. Only number 11 counted, because that was the one to failure. And so doing the reps is an absolute necessity. And so, of course, the number one item would be that they need more discipline to do the pipeline. And you say, well, Tim, reps are different than discipline. No, they're not. I'm telling you that the more reps you do, the more easy this is to do. And so get in there and do the reps. There is no substitute. All right? So what have all the videos that I've done up till now been about? What they've been about is when you contact them, the prospect is going to say something, maybe. And something that they say will be one of those conversations that you see if you go to my channel on YouTube, and then you click on videos, and then you scroll and you look at the sequence all the way back to the very beginning. All of those conversations that I have for you are ones that I've had in the pipeline. I've talked to prospects. They've asked me questions. I've had to explain things to people. And the way that I explain things to people is how I get them progressing through the pipeline. I help overcome that lack of understanding, help overcome that was an objection, no longer is an objection, because they can see that it's what everybody always does, or whatever, however that particular question came out. Okay? All right. So there comes this point in every person's life, no matter what their profession is, where it comes to that point which all that's left is one thing: going to the calendar, putting a date, showing up, doing it. And all the hocus pocus, all the chanting, all the affirmations, all the everything, all of it is just one simple thing. It's just do it. And that is that one thing that everybody wants the secret to, some hocus pocus thing. There isn't none. There isn't one. I hate to tell you that. But I also want you to knock off thinking that there is something else. Okay? This is the test of all human beings. Do what you decided to do. And that's it. And whether it's showing up to work out, whether it's showing up to go to school, whether it's showing up to do the pipeline, that's all there ever is. There comes this point where you decide you're going to do, and you do. People say, well, how do you get yourself to do it, Tim? And I say, don't ever ask that question. Because you're looking for an answer and you've already made the decision to do the thing. Just go do the thing. The very best, I can ever do from a workout standpoint is never ask, am I going to work out today? I just start putting my shoes on. Okay, as soon as I have that idea that I'm going to doubt, that I feel like it, or any of that stuff, as soon as I feel that part coming on, I just put my shoes on and get in the gym. Doesn't matter how many reps I do at that point, I just got to get in the gym. Okay, so that's how I overcome it, if there is such a thing as overcoming it. But at the end of the day, this is the test. This is your test. Okay, so I've done the pipeline for many, many, many years. It's second nature to me. I don't even think about it anymore. I put lead generation on automatic, and so I have to show up. No other choice. Okay, so this is the pipeline. You prove your competency by doing the pipeline. You got to put in the reps. There is no other way. And every step that I built that bridge up to, if you need it, use it. Okay, some people need an undercut. Use it. Okay, I'll be talking a whole lot more about what's inside that bridge, but I just wanted to give you a big overview here. Let me know what you think. I appreciate you watching the video. And comment. Let me know how you feel about it. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. Thanks so much.